Hey, everybody, welcome to day 6 of the Take Back Your Life Challenge, learning to think right so you can live right.
Nailed it again today.
Is that it?
You
Boom.
did.
It's awesome. It's because it's Black Friday.
Yeah.
I hope that if you were able to get up and do some shopping this morning, that you found what you were looking for and you've gotten Christmas season off on the right foot. So, Black Friday. Very different this year in 2020 than it's been in the past. But
And if you did go out Black Friday shopping, leave a comment below with how you socially distance doing that because I'm interested.
yeah, it was interesting. I did talk to some people that did some Black Friday shopping, like some weeks ago. And I guess that one of the Walmarts in Edmond, Oklahoma had policemen there at like 5 o'clock because they open at 5 or 6 now, right? I mean,
I
they're
don't
not
know.
open 24/7. So anyway, I guess there was 2 people standing at the door, and he's like, I'm not wasting my time with this, and he left. So
That's funny.
Black Friday, what a day. So we're talking day 6. We're into this now for the 6th day. Today's mask off.
It is. Do you want me to read the scripture of
Sure.
the day? Okay. So we have, for our boast is this, the testimony of our conscience, that we behave in the world with simplicity and godly sincerity, not by earthly wisdom, but by the grace of God. 2 Corinthians 1, verse 12. So what does that mean for us?
Well, I don't know. That's a great question.
I always like it. I'm going to put this plug in here. This was
She
in
put
the
me on the
ESV.
spot.
This was in the ESV translation, and the ESV is the English Standard Version. And this is actually how my Bible teacher on Wednesdays has us to study the word first before we bring it into either the NLT or the NIV, because the English Standard Version and the Christian Standard version
We're almost to Christmas, so we might as well start breaking it down.
yeah, is the closest translation, but then the NLT and the NIV bring it into a little bit more modern day. And so for me, whenever I'm looking at that and I'm looking at the ESV, I'm going to be trying to find the themes in it and then bring it into the more modern day. We did that just a little bit ago with our kids that are here, and we were able to ask them about the mask that they wear and find out a little bit about how self-aware they are on the mask that they wear, because as parents, we see their masks, and as siblings, the siblings see their masks. And so it was interesting. As you're reading today, you're going to see all of the different masks that there are. And we had at least one of the kids say that their mask was the superiority mask. A couple of them say the smiley face mask. A couple of them say the funny guy gal mask. And then I believe that everybody in our family has the zombie mask. Am I wrong in that? We like to numb ourselves on social media or different things occasionally.
I don't know that it's the zombie mask. I just think that to some degree we escape on our phones. That's one of the great struggles of our day, is how all of us numb ourselves on our phone. I'm thankful none of the kids came out and said they were the 50 Shades of Grey
Praise
mask.
Jesus.
That would have given me a heart attack.
Yeah, it would have me as well. Now, whenever we're talking about the different masks, and you've been able to read through and go through the different masks that Pastor Levi talks about, the ones that are resonating with you, think back and think, did I have different masks whenever I was in high school? Do I have different masks now? And how do I become authentic? One of the things that I've always told my kids is that whenever you're in junior high and you're in high school, it's really hard to get out without wearing a mask at some point because you're trying to fit in, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the amazing thing about becoming an adult is that you can be whoever you want to be. You don't have to conform to the mask that you've already put on. And if you can be whoever you want to be, why not be authentic? Why not go ahead and take off that mask and see, who are my people? Who do I resonate with? Because one thing that my dad used to say all the time is that if you tell a lie, which is what a mask is, if you tell a lie, you're putting on that mask. Every time that you come encounter with that person again, you have to tell a lie again and again and again. And it's so much easier just to tell the truth. Be who it is that you're supposed to be, that you authentically are.
I think that one of the things that we run into, and that's great advice for a young person, somebody that's maybe finishing up high school, heading into college, somebody that's finishing college, heading into the work world. That's great advice. The trouble is, so many of us exchange one mask for another. When we leave those environments, high school, we're worried about fitting in. College, we're, finding ourselves, right? And then we get into a work world and we believe that we have to fit a mold in order to fit in. So we typically exchange one mask for another. The hard part about all of this is being truly authentic. And you were going back and talking about the verse, right? So and you're like, so what does that mean? And I was trying to think about that in terms of what we're talking about with the masks. And if we read it again, it's our boast is this: the testimony of our conscience that we behaved in the world with simplicity and godly sincerity. So it's one of the things that we're learning in this study, right, is that God made us unique. He's given us a certain set of gifts. He's given us what we need to accomplish what he has for us. So when we exchange one mask for another, we're just continuing to try and fit the world's mold. We're trying to fit into what we think society's going to do. And we talked about this just a bit ago. It is about control. We want to control what we think is best for us. We don't want to put out things that we think others are going to make fun of. We don't want to put out things that we think are going to cause others to shun us or maybe be an outcast. We try to control the narrative. And really what God's asking us to do is just be who he's made us to be. And that's hard. And it makes you very vulnerable in certain situations.
Absolutely, it does.
What are you doing?
I'm looking for it in the NLV.
The NLV?
NLT, I'm sorry. I just read it in the NIV and I did not like it. So.
So that's what we're doing now?
No, it's not. But it was pretty much the same thing as here. I was trying to get a different wording of it. So in the NLT, it says, we can say with confidence and a clear conscience that we have lived with a God-given holiness and sincerity in all of our dealings. We have depended on God's grace, not on our own human wisdom. That is how we have conducted ourselves before the world and especially towards you. That says it completely different than the verse in the book. And I think that whenever you see the one that's in the book and then you go to how does that sound in today's language, it's clear that it's talking about how we portray ourselves to the world. And part of what our kids have went through, and I'm sure that other kids in blended relationships have went through, is they talked about that they put up masks because of abandonment issues. Because whenever I know I was a kid of a divorced family, and you have abandonment issues, and so you're afraid to take down that mask and be who you really are, because one, whenever you were very young, it's very hard to not believe that your parents split is because of you. You hear your parents fight, and most of the times they fight about money, they fight about kids, they fight about family things, and then one or the other or both are gone. And you sit there and you think, well, it must be me. And so you put on that mask and you keep that mask on whenever you get into relationships or you get into even work relationships, not just romantic relationships. And then eventually it gets so tiresome you have to take that mask off. So that was something that is, especially in the NLT, what that speaks to me is, how are you portraying yourself?
I think the crux of this particular lesson comes down to trust.
Oh, absolutely.
And that trust is becoming a big word for me, and we haven't talked about words for the upcoming year yet. That's probably some, but that's a trust is a big word because we have to learn to trust that who God made us is way better than who we try to make us. The way that we try to fit in, whatever that may be, it's a lot easier to talk about this in terms of high school because, in high school you try to fit in with a certain clique, whether it's the athletic people or maybe the smart people or maybe the band people or maybe
the
art
Cowboys
people or whatever. I mean, high school is a lot more about cliques and groups than, or at least
it's definitely about being in a
outwardly-
box.
outwardly than when we're adults. I mean, as adults, we still end up in groups. We just don't talk about it quite the same way. So, taking off the mask is much more about trusting who God says He is and less about who we think we can control with our mask.
Good stuff.
So, let's all take off our mask together. If you say that out loud in public these days, you're probably going to be shunned anyway. So, when we're talking about masks, we're not talking about the cloth masks that you have to wear when you go into public places these days. We're talking about our personality masks.
Yes. Those are much harder to take off sometimes, but be brave. Do hard things.
Yes, do hard things.
Candy Deckard would approve. Do hard things.
She likes that saying. So, that's day 6. We are almost 1 week into this challenge. Tomorrow will be day 7. That's one thing about this book that's a little bit different from others. There's no days off, right? So
No days
most
off.
of the other books that are like this, you at least get a day off now and then. Not in this one. You have to be committed for the whole 40 days. So I hope that you will be, and I hope that you are. So remember, let's take off our masks. Let's continue to work towards saying positive things over our life, over our attitudes. Let's continue to build on all these things as we move forward. Do the questions. Write them down in your journal. It's going to be important for you to do that. But I hope that you're building that habit.
Awesome. And we'll see you tomorrow on day 7, which is permission slip.
Permission slip. So anyway, subscribe to the channel. We continue to do this. We do this maybe once a year, maybe twice a year if we get real crazy with these challenges. You can see a little bit more into our lives, the things that we do once in a while, whenever I have the time to sit down and do some videos. So subscribe to the channel. Ding the bell if you want to get notified when these videos go live each morning. So we appreciate you guys. Be sure to share with your friends. There's still an opportunity to invite a friend or two to come along with you on this challenge. They can easily catch up with us. There's a link to buy the book down below. But you guys hang in there with us. We're 6 days in. Tomorrow's day 7.
Awesome. See you tomorrow.
Have a great day, everyone.